Welcome to Bedtime Stories. The Habit. Once upon a time, in a forest a camel and a jackal became great friends. They often played together and ate together. One day the jackal dashed off to find her friend. "Camel," she cried, "I've heard there's a lovely field of sugar cane across the river. If you take me there, I'll show you the place. You can nibble on that sugar cane until your belly is bursting." "But what will you do while I'm eating?" "You don't eat sugar cane," the camel asked. "Oh, I've heard that there are crabs and fish on the banks of the river." "I will feast to my heart's content," said the jackal, licking her lips. "Very well," said the camel. She bent her knees and lowered herself to the ground. The jackal hopped on her back. "Now we'll travel across the river," the camel said, rising again. And off they went. Into the river the camel waded, and soon she was swimming. She began huffing and puffing, for it is hard work swimming across a river, and she was carrying a load. When they reached the far shore, the camel waded onto land and bent her knees again. The jackal hopped to shore. "There's the sugar cane," said the jackal, and the camel smacked her lips in anticipation, for there it stood, an enormous field of ripe sugar cane. While the camel feasted, the jackal ran up and down the shore, eating crabs and fishes. Of course, since the jackal was much smaller than the camel, she devoured a dozen mouthfuls and then she was full. The camel, though, had just begun. She nibbled, and munched, and crunched, happy as could be, for the sugar cane was delicious, and just as the jackal had predicted, her belly swelled with the sweetness. While the camel still nibbled, the jackal raced around the field barking with joy. "Delicious crabs and fish and bones," she cried. "Oh, my belly is so full. Oh, I am a happy jackal." Cool. Soon the people in the village heard the sounds of the howling. "There's a jackal in our sugar cane field," the people cried. "She'll tear up our field," others shouted. The excited crowd gathered and ran toward the sugar cane field. When they reached the field they saw the camel. "That camel will eat everything if we don't stop her," one man cried. "Stop her," the crowd echoed. They rushed toward the camel. Now the jackal had seen the people running, and she ran away as fast as she could. But the camel was crunching and munching so loudly, she did not hear a thing until the villagers were upon her. When she looked up, they had surrounded her, and she could see that they were angry. Suddenly she felt whips tearing at her back. She cowered and cringed. She shook and shivered with pain. But the people did not stop whipping her until they had driven her far from the field. When the villagers had driven the camel to the riverbank, they went away. Soon the jackal appeared beside her. "We should better return to our side of the river," she said. "Yes," the camel groaned, "I do not like it here at all." And so, once more, she bent her knees so that the jackal could climb on her back. The camel waded into the river, but this time she stopped in the middle of the river and said, "Jackal, you treated me badly," she said. "Why did you make so much noise? Didn't you know the villagers would find and get us? I'm black and blue and sore, and still hungry. Why did you ruin my sweet meal?" "A habit," the jackal shrugged. "We jackals tend to howl when we're pleased. And I like to sing and dance after supper." The camel waded deeper still until the water reached her knees and then her thighs, and was so high upon her body that she had to begin swimming. But again she stopped a moment and turned to face the jackal. "Would you like to roll in this clear, cool water?" she asked. "Oh no," the jackal said. "Not at all." "Why not?" asked the camel. "I'm afraid of the water," the jackal said, shivering. "And I don't know to swim." "Why would you want to roll in this water, dear friend?" This time the camel shrugged. "A habit," she said. "I always like to take a little roll in the water when I've finished a nice half meal." "Please don't," The jackal cried, but it was too late, for the camel had begun to roll. A moment later, the jackal was in the water too, but she could not swim. "Help!" the jackal cried, and for a moment the camel watched her friend struggle. Then she swam to the jackal's side, and her friend climbed on her back again. "Let that be a lesson," said the camel. "Habits are hard to break. Good habits should be maintained, and bad ones which could harm others, we must try to change." The jackal nodded. "Yes indeed," she said. "I completely understand." And the two swam back home. If you like the story, please do like, share and subscribe. Thank you for listening. Good night.